permaculture, hugelculture, and gardening. And if you have a tractor, you have to maintenance your tractor. So I have a Kubota L3301 hydrostatic, and I'm doing my 600-hour maintenance right now. And this is the process that I take to maintenance my Kubota. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is my Kubota L3301. I went ahead and first things first, I got an air compressor with an air compressor nozzle. I went ahead and removed all the mulch, dust, and debris from everything. Cleaned out the filter department in there, so everything's nice and clean. Went ahead and wiped off the fill plug for my oil. I'm gonna have to remove this filter over here. Let me go around to this side. You can see everything's nice and clean, everything's out. I pulled this out to clean the filter there. I'm gonna have to remove that filter. And down here, I'm gonna have to remove that filter. Then I'm gonna have to go ahead and remove this and fill up the oil through there. And then come to the back and put in the hydrostatic transmission fluid. And that's your basics for going ahead and doing your maintenance. The other thing I'm going to have to do right here is this is my fuel water separator. It's got a red ring. If there's water in there, that ring floats up. If you're using the tractor, you could always see if you're running low just by looking at this. So I'm going to replace the filter in there too. Not that the fuel filter is dirty, but the microns in it over time kind of get filled up just with moisture and stuff, or a little bit of particles. It's just best to, when you're maintenance, do everything. So this is what I'm going to use to maintenance, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so first off, it may start raining over here. I see some drops on here. If it rains, I'm going to have to go ahead and stop the video. Just my luck. But you get yourself some cardboard. That way, when you're laying on your back, you're on cardboard and not the ground. I went ahead and besides air blowing off the motor, I went ahead and blew off the ground so all the sand and particles are out of the way so they don't get on everything. You're going to want oil. Well, I use the Shell Rotella T6. It's full synthetic. Best thing you're ever going to use for a diesel motor. Use it on my diesel truck and use it on my Kubota ever since new. You could go buy the Kubota stuff if you want. I'm a believer in using brand products that say that they're good and they are specified for what you're working on. In this case, it's a HST hydrostatic, so I'm going to use everything that's recommended for that and diesel. Ooh, so I got some diesel fluid, and the reason why, right here, let me put this up here. I purchased a bunch of 5-gallon jugs, buckets. I purchased a bunch of Travelers 5-gallon buckets when they were on sale, because the price is pretty high. I got the premium Universal Tractor Trans Hydraulic Fluid. Now, a lot of people say just use the Kubota. Well, I went ahead and looked up Travelers, and went on to Tractor Supply site and even called. And right on their site, it says it's for Kubota hydrostatic transmissions, HST, and it meets or exceeds. So no matter what manufacturer you go with, as long as it says it's for your brand, meets and exceeds, and it's for the hydrostatic HST, you're good to go at half the price. I'll put the prices below, but Kubota's like 110 and above per 5 gallon. Travelers is like less than half that, so it's a no-brainer for me, and it's been working good. Of course, you want rags. I also got gloves. You want a funnel, but you want a flexible funnel, because if it's a straight funnel, you can't really get into the oil. So this way you could kind of contour it, and it will fit perfect for filling up your fluid, your oil, and your hydraulic fluid in the back. If it was straight up, you're gonna have to, well, you'll see, hold it over the seat and do all kinds of weird stuff, especially if you're using a 5 gallon bucket. Impossible. And this is one that I used before. And you want to go ahead and remove filters. So this strap filter remover that goes on a socket is perfect. I love it more than anything else for removing filters. And of course, I've got the one that goes around the filter and clamps on it. So best of both worlds. But this by far has always been the best. Then you're going to go ahead and you get yourself a filter kit. You could buy all these individually. You could go ahead and go with Kubota, or you could go with an aftermarket. These are Donaldson aftermarket, and you know, they meet the specs, they work real good, but you want to change all your filters, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. It's a lot less money when you buy the kit versus each individual, plus it's definitely convenient. Just fill out the online form and it comes. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start draining some fluid so it could drain out. So let me get cracking. Okay, so to do the oil, to drain it, there's a plug over here and there's a plug on the other side of this pan. There's 2 plugs. So this is what I'm going to do, is loosen this and let it drain on this side, and then I'm going to go to this other side and drain the other, and leave them open and let them drip out for a while. Now on the floor, you see I have feed bags. I like these feed bags because they're lined with plastic on the inside, so any lube or oil that falls out is going to go on the bag, absorb, and it's not going to go through the bag because of the plastic. So let's go. So you can see I'm loosening it right here. There it is, coming out. Now you want to make sure that you don't lose this gasket right here. So I got both of them off. Okay, so as you can see, the fluid is going into the pan. By the way, this big open top pan that I'm using right down here, I prefer that than the closed top ones. The closed top ones, if it gets a clog, it's going to flow out, and they don't drain down fast enough, and the whole top of it gets oily anyway. With this, it's a big tub, and it holds a lot. Once you pour it out, you let it set, it all drains off, and you can wipe it a lot easier. Now I'm letting that drain out first, and then I'm going to move to the other side. Now as that's draining right over here, I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. I already blew everything off, but I'm going to go ahead and wipe the best I could around it. Like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and open that up, crack it open so some air gets in there. So to do that, I got some pliers over here. I'm just going to put that around it. I'm going to give it a little twist like this. Okay, just like that to loosen it up. And I'm going to wipe it off again, and I'm going to blow it. I blew it because I seen some particles. Okay, so I'm taking this off and I'm going to wipe it. Just like this, get it clean. And I'll wipe it again before I put it on. Now I'm going to take a clean part and I'm going to wipe away from the middle like this. Down and around to get anything that's on there off. And now I'm going to wipe right down here. So if there's anything there, it will come off too. Okay, got that nice and clean. Now I'm going to put this cap right back over here, just so no particles falls in. Just like that. There's still some airflow, but I'm going to leave it loose. Now, going back below over here, it's draining real nice. So you could go over to the other side. And maybe for the camera I should, but I'm going to do it from this side. But I'm going to reposition the camera for you. Okay, so I got the camera positioned here, but I'm going to go on the other side where I got everything set up to start draining. Okay. Had to make sure I got the ring off. And I'm being messy because I'm showing for the camera. I hate the camera sometimes. Okay, so I'm waiting for the oil to finish draining out. Then I'm going to remove the filter. But right now, of course, it's starting to sprinkle on me. So I'm going to shut the video off until I'm ready to take that filter off. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to remove this cover right over here. So I already loosened that. So I'm going to take off this nut, this bolt right here. Okay, I just pulled this tab out right there. And right there. And lift that up. That goes up, and this tab, that's off. So now you could get to this whole side of the motor, but all I got to do is get to this filter. I already blew it off. I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit. On the back side, I think I'm good to go. Okay, this strap goes on just like this, and then you could take it off. But to take it off, let me show you this. The oil is going to drip right down here and hit the axle and then wrap around the axle. So I'm going to put a little bit of a funnel there. So let me go get a piece of plywood. Let me go get some cardboard. Okay, so I went ahead and got a piece of cardboard. I'm just going to lay it right here. And then the oil is going to drip on this and go down right where I want it into the pan. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my strap. Like I say, I love this filter remover. I could use the other one that grips. I just like this. You can use anything you want. See how easy it comes? So now that that's loose, I'm going to take this off. Remember, I already changed this before. I write down the hours and everything and the mileage that I use. So let me go ahead and take this off. Right here, you can see it dripping. Right here, it's dripping on the cardboard. If I didn't have the cardboard, it'd be on the axle now, dripping around and down on the ground. Okay, so I removed the filter right here. The last time of course I'm going to show you and I mess up, but let me turn this over. That's why I got down that plastic. But as you can see, I went ahead and did the last time that I did the filter, that it was T6, and I did the weight, and I did the hours and all that. So, and that wasn't too long ago. It was 497, and now I got 600 hours on there. So about 100 hours on that filter. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so as you can tell, it's definitely harder when you're using a camera. But right here, I got the Kubota filter, and I got the new Donaldson filter. Same size. And Donaldson, I think, is actually better. But here you go, that's what I'm going to put on. It comes nice and wrapped up, so I'm going to remove the wrapping and put it on. Let me reposition the camera. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a rag and I'm just going to go ahead and clean that up right there. Now I'm going to open this filter up. I'm going to take a little dab like that and put that right around here. That's going to go ahead and make it slide on easy. You don't need much, just a little bit. Now I'm going to screw it on. Okay, wipe my hands. Okay, it's hand tight, nice and snug. Now when I'm done, I'm going to write the hours right over there. So let me get a marker. Okay, so I put its T6, 619 hours. That's on there. And that's on good. So now I could go ahead and put the plugs back in down below and then fill it up. Okay, so I cleaned off the little gasket here and I got the bolt, and now I'm going to go ahead and plug it up. Okay, that's on there snug. Let's go around to the other side. Okay, same thing here. I got the bolt. Gonna clean off the bolt. Gonna clean off the washer. No, we'll go ahead and clean this off. Just wiping above it. Now I'm going to screw it on. And tighten it up. Okay, that's good. Okay, there you go. I think I did pretty good on that. Didn't spill too much. The only thing I spilled is when I went to go look at the filter so I could read it to you. But other than that, it went good. So now I got to go ahead and fill it up. So let's get on with it. Okay, so here's the scoop. If you use a straight funnel like this, when you go to put it in here, it's just going to go in and fall like this. You can't really fill it up. So I don't like straight ones. But if you go ahead and you take one like this, you can put it in and you can fill it up from the top. See the difference? Instead of having a straight one down here, you can't fill it up, you can't hold it up. You just put this in and it holds up like that. You could also attach something so it doesn't turn over on you or anything, but that's how I do it. Okay, so I have my funnel and I have my rotella. So now it's just a matter of filling it up. Just kind of do this. Okay, So there you have it. Okay, so it takes 7.1 quarts. So that means it's going to take almost this one too. Okay, so I don't want to overfill it, so I'm going to check it before I overfill it. So when you go to ahead and check it, you got to get the oil through the filter and everything. So it's good to turn on the key. So for that, I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to flip this up so none comes out. And put this in. I don't like leaving the funnel in there because it could hit the gears when it comes on. Okay. Now I'm going to go on the other side and check the dipstick. Okay, so I'm going to wipe. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to check how much is in here right now. Wipe off the old. It's got to be between the lines. It could take a few times because it's still going down there, but I just want to look. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, as you can see, it's right there. See it? That's the full mark. Let me do this. That's the empty mark, that's halfway, and that's full right there. So let me put this back in. Now I'm going to run it and check it again. There you go. You can kind of see it right there. It's just below the full mark. So that's really good. That was a good guess. So I'm going to put this back in. Okay, so I put the dipstick back in. I'm going to run the motor just for a little bit. Let it get warm and let it circulate. Okay, so while that's running, I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to do my transmission HST hydrostatic transmission fluid change. So for that, we got to go down below. And the way I do it is this nut, this bolt right here, and on the other side, that bolt right there, got to unloosen both and drain it. But when you loosen this one, it's going to shoot out and it's going to splat on that. So if you put this up, a piece of cardboard, it's going to come out, hit that, and go down in there. So I loosen this up. It's hand tight right now. So let me go ahead and do this. Try to get the O-ring and everything. There you go. See, it's coming out right there. It's hitting this board, the cardboard, and going down. Okay, I'm going to let that drain. Then I'm going to do that one right over there after this one drains. And then I'll be back with you. Okay, so it's amazing. They have two drain plugs for the oil and two drain plugs for the transmission, and both of them you need cardboard, so you know, do it right and you don't have a big mess. Anyway, let me take care of that, and I'm gonna put the camera down for that. I'll be back at you. Okay, so this one here is draining really slow. So now I could do that other one over there. I will go ahead and see if I get this cardboard underneath and get it up on this side. Of course, I'm holding the camera and doing it with one hand, so all right. Oh, that's not easy. All right, that's good enough. So I loosen that up. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove it. See if I get it off with that O-ring right there, the washer. Okay, I got the washer and got that. Okay, so we'll let that go ahead and drain. Meanwhile, as those are draining, there's another nut, a bolt right here, and there's another one here. Gonna have to undo this and that one because fluid's in here and fluid's in there, but I can't do it until that's done and I put the bolts back, because when I undo these, we're gonna have a lot of fluid coming out. So let me finish what I'm doing and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I cleaned off the bolt and the washer. This here is just down to a little drip. So I'll go ahead and put this one back in. Just snug it up for now with my hand. I'll come back and tighten it. And that one over here is still draining just a little bit. So I'll be back with you. Okay, so it's raining out. I'm going to try to drain this real quick because I'm getting rained on. That way all I got to do is fill it up. So let's go. Let's go ahead and do this one. Okay, as that's draining, let me undo this. See how much more transmission fluid was in there? So you got to make sure you do all 4 places. And I'm going to try to get this out without getting on my camera. Let's do this. There it is. Okay, so I got both of those right there draining right now. And I got my body is getting wet from the rain. Oh. I had to put most of my stuff away, and I had to drain this, put it into a 5-gallon bucket. But I just want to drain this and this and put the bolts in, and then go inside and dry off until the rain stops, because I'm not going to go ahead and fill it up if it's raining, because water will get into it. And right there you can see the gears right there. Same thing when I removed the oil filter and stuff, you can see the gears. Okay, let me shut this off for a little bit. Okay, so pretty much it stopped draining, just a couple drips coming out. I went ahead and replaced this. Got a little bit dripping out here, but that's okay. You don't have to get 100%. But since it's raining out, I'm gonna put this on. Tighten it up. Always make sure that you got that washer on there. That's so it don't. Okay, that's on good. And that's on good. Okay, that's done. Okay, so now I got to do this filter on this side and that filter on that side. That would be this filter here and that filter there. But I'll do that when it stops raining, so I'll be back. Okay, going to remove this filter now. I'm gonna have to put the camera down for a second. Okay, got the filter socket on there. Now I gave it a little turn. Gonna take it off. Put the bucket there and unscrew it. Okay, let that drain. Let me go get my filter. Okay, so here's a Donaldson. As you can see, they're identical. Let me open it up. Okay, the Donaldson is identical. Same size and everything. So let me go ahead and install it. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of lube right here. I'm going to put it on the gasket, just like, let me do it this way. Just like that. Just a little bit of lube right on that gasket. That's important. And I'm going to take the filter and screw it on. Okay. Tighten it by hand. I'm going to use two hands. I'm going to shut off the camera. Now I'm going to go on the other side and remove the other filter. Okay, so over here I'm going to remove this filter. Okay, here we go. Let's take it off. Okay, let that drain. Okay, now this filter here has a magnet. Gonna pull the magnet out and we'll look at the magnet. Okay, put my finger all the way around. This is what comes off of the magnet. It looks fairly good. I'm going to clean this off and put it back on. Okay, actually the new filter has a magnet on it. Undo it. Okay, as you can see, here's the magnet on the new filter right here. So no need to use that one, but I'll save it. Some filters do not come with one. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of this lube right here. I'm going to put it on the filter like that, the gasket. That makes it screw on easily. If you don't do that, it's tight. You think you have it tight, but you don't. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And that's it. Just tighten up by hand as tight as you could. And that's good enough. Okay, so I got that filter change. One more. Okay, so right over here, I have a fuel filter. And I need to remove this right here. Let's see if this type of wrench gets it okay. Okay, so right here, hopefully it's on video. Gonna go ahead and remove this fuel filter right here. I should be able to do it by hand from now. Let's see. Yep, let me take this off. I don't know if fuel's gonna leak out, but it shouldn't because it's upside down. Yeah, I'm gonna throw a bag down underneath because it kind of looks like it may drip out, so the bag's definitely gonna help. Okay, this is diesel fuel, so let me get it out of here. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it around. Everything looks good. Okay, so I have the other filter right here. Let me unwrap it. And this is a Donaldson, and it says fuel filter on there. Maybe you can see it better there. So let's go ahead and put it on. This hose is pushing against it, so I got to play with it a little bit. Remember, you don't want to cross thread. Everything should go easy. There it is. This hose was pushing on it, so I had to put pressure on it. Let me go get a towel. Okay, got a paper towel. Okay. Let me grab it. Okay, got that on there, nice. Okay, so I went ahead and did what I needed to do. Got to do my fuel filter still, so let me come over here. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to have to do this fuel filter. Okay, so to do the fuel filter, I get myself a pair of pliers, crescent wrench, and I put this on so it don't scratch it. Open it up to the widest, and I just put it on here, squeeze, and give it a little bit, just a little bit of a turn. There it is. Just enough where you could get it off by hand like that. Well, I'm supposed to shut off this little valve over here. Where is it? There should be a little shut-off valve. Here it is, right here on this side. So I'm going to flip that way. Okay, I got that off. Now when I do it, no fuel's going to come out. I shut off the fuel. Okay, so I'm taking this off like that. There's diesel fuel in there. I'm going to go dump it in a little bit. For now, I want to take off this filter right here by pulling it right here. And you can see what this filter looks like. You see the color of it? That means it's dirty. It needs to be cleaned, so doing it at the right time. Let me go get the new filter and a towel. I'll be right back. Okay, so I dumped out the fuel. Now in here there's a spring. Let me take this away here and I can show you. Okay, so in here there's a spring, and this is actually a float. If there's water in here, it floats up like that. And then in here there's dirt, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that out real good, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got this cleaned out. Now I'm going to clean off the float. See the dirt that came off? Nice and clean now. And I'm going to clean off the spring. Just like that. Now I'm going to put the float down in there. Going to put the spring down in there. Now I'm going to take the new filter right here. And if you look at the filter, how clean it is, you can see through the filter. It's nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this off right here. Okay, I'm going to take this, going to go ahead and push it up, right up in here like that, Gonna clean this off here, the threads. Okay, I'm gonna put that on there like that, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this on, just like this. Oh, see that right there? It says drain water. That's if it's at that line right there. I'm gonna put this on, but that's gonna turn. I just hand tighten this. Okay, that's tight right there. Fuel filter's changed. Now, I'll turn on the little switch over here for the fuel. It's a little lever. I pull it down right here. Now it's down. When I turn on the key, it's going to fill up. But for now, I need to go ahead and put fluid in my HST, transmission fluid, and I don't want to turn the key or anything till I do that. So let's get with that. Okay, so I use one of these. Okay, so I use one of these big filters. I cleaned it off real good. It's been sitting in the garage. Now clean up this area. And this is how I utilize it. Let me open this up. I need my pliers. Just a little bit of pressure. That's it right there, it's open. Okay, let's beat the rain. What I do is I undo this cap and clean it off. And I put this in there like that. And I put this here like that so it holds on steady, you see that? And then I fill it up. Okay, it's starting to rain, so put this cap on. Let me cover that up real quick. Okay, that's covered. I'm gonna go get a tarp. Okay, so just my luck, it started raining again. I got a tarp, so if it rains again, I could throw it over so water does not go down into where I'm filling up for the transmission. So let's get going over here. Okay. Wipe that off. There's just a few drops there. Okay, this is always fun. Okay, I'm going to check my dipstick. Okay, so I finished filling it up, and if I pull out the dipstick, you can see that it's halfway between the empty and the full, right here. I don't know if you can see that on there. It's right there, a little bit more than halfway in between, so that's perfect. You don't want to go too much. Too much is no good. Okay, so I got that done, and what else I needed to do, I did it off camera. Is since I put this fuel filter on, there was air in it, it was empty. You could always put diesel in first and screw it on, but when you put it in and there's air in there, you loosen the air screw up here, you turn the key and it fills up, and all the air comes out when it starts overflowing, and then you tighten it back up. Same thing, if you ever run out of diesel fuel, air will get in there. You have to bleed it when you put new fuel in. So with that said, I got the oil filled up on the dipstick, got all my filters changed, I bled the diesel fuel filter, transmission fluids filled, it's up to the right level. Now I'm going to change my air filter right here. Okay, so I'm going to change the air filter. This is the new one. It's a Donaldson, and this is how you change the filter. You just take this off and you take that off. Now pretty much every couple hours you should take this off, and you should pull out your filter and blow it with your air gun to get all of it out. But do you see the difference in them? They're the same, but definitely cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in like this. It's in. This is already cleaned out from earlier. I'm just going to wipe it. When I cleaned it, I blew it out, so it's ready to go, and you clean that out too. So when you put it back on, basically you want this to go right here until it finds a groove where it's supposed to be, and then this just clips. This just clips in that groove right there, and this bottom one, it also clips in the groove. It has to be on there snug. There's one little groove in there. So pretty much that's my 600-hour maintenance. The only other thing I need to do is add just a little bit of antifreeze in there. It's just above the low. I want to make it right up to there. So I'm not going to do that right now. I have to mix antifreeze, probably like 50-50 or 25-75. I don't know. I got to look it up. But anyway, that's it. I just did my 600-hour maintenance. There's no reason for you to have to bring it into a dealership. It's straightforward. It's simple. Get to know your tractor, maintenance it all the time, and you'll be good to go. Now, as far as maintenance, I see, I go pick up horse manure and stuff like that, and people that got Kubotas, I take a look at it. They don't grease all their fittings every 10 hours. Every 10 hours. That's like one day or every other day. They do it like once a month or once a year. I go over there, they're bone dry. You can hear metal grinding on metal. Definitely no good. Once it wears down, the pins and the surrounded metal, you're in big trouble. It's going to cost a lot to replace those components on your bucket and loader and so forth. So make sure you grease every 10 hours. I do mine religiously, sometimes every day, sometimes every other day, depending on what kind of work I'm doing, and sometimes once a week. I might just use the tractor 3 hours for a day and 5 hours the next day, but I generally do it right around 10 hours. It's cheap. Grease is cheap, but if you let it get dry, it's metal on metal. There's no Zerks for that type of grease. So, I mean, there's Zerks, but there's no, like, they're not sealed to where it stays in. You squeeze it into the Zerk, it comes out the sides, and when you're using it, it keeps coming out the sides, so you got to go ahead and make sure you keep putting more in. If those fittings don't look dirty all the time with grease, if there's no new grease coming out and you look at them and there's old grease caked up or they're totally dry, you're not maintaining your Kubota like you should. So anyway, if you maintenance your Kubota like you're supposed to, it's going to last for years and years and years. If you neglect it, some of these people, I go over there, they got knock-in, their bucket don't go up right. I ask them about when they do it. They say, oh, they would grease it, but the Zerks are clogged. I'm like, replace the Zerks. So really, the only thing else I need to do is that main front axle. I got to drain it and fill it back up. But for that, I actually got to go pick up some gear lube for it. And I don't put the transmission fluid in it. So when I get that gear lube, probably over the weekend, I'll order it and go pick it up or have it delivered to my door. I'll just drain it and then fill it up. It's that simple. So with that said, hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, get in contact with me below. Have a good day.